the last example is here. It says here, finally, we may encounter a quadratic when we are solving. When we look back to these previous questions, whenever we split up the absolute value, we got a linear equation. Nothing with a squared in it. There was no x squareds here, there was no x squareds here, there was no x squareds. But this is the first time we can get an x squared. So let's take a look here at the very first question. The rule still applies. We need to get the absolute value alone. In that case, I'm going to move over this 8 by adding, and then I'll have to divide by this 2. So I'll write the 2x squared plus 2x minus 4 in absolute values equals 8, and then divide this whole thing by 2. Then I'd get the absolute value of x squared plus 2x minus 4 is equal to 8 over 2, which is 4. Now make a note, there's no x here. If this thing was a negative 4, we could just immediately write it off and say there's no solution. There's no way an absolute value could equal a negative number. However, it's a positive number, so we actually can do this. So this inside is x squared plus 2x minus 4. Or x squared plus 2x minus 4. Those are insides. I'm okay if the inside is equal to the original, which is 4, but I'm also okay if it equals the negated version, which is negative 4. Now, whenever you have an x squared, the rule is always to get everything onto one side, and then you can use a quadratic formula, or you can factor, or some of us might have completed the square to solve. So I'm going to minus the 4 here. So I've got x squared plus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. And I do not even know if this is factorable, but I'll try. X, and 8 would be 4 and 2. And one of them has to be negative, so we can get negative 8. And this diagonal here is 4x. And this diagonal is negative 2x. Negative 4 and minus 2 is 2. X, and that's what I have for the middle. Okay, so I know that's good. So I've got x minus 2 and x plus 4 is equal to 0. And that was factoring, and then we actually have to solve it. So we have x minus 2 can equal 0, so one of the brackets is equal to 0, and x plus 4 can equal 0, the other one. So I can add 2, add 2 to both sides for this one. 0 plus 2 is 2. And then I can, hold on here. Okay, continuing on here. The x plus 4 equals 0, so I'll minus the 4 to get rid of it. So x equals negative 4. Okay, I'm going to have to check both of those, but before I do that, I might as well do the other side. Because it has an x squared, don't know what happened here. Because it has an x squared, I want to get everything over to one side. So I will add the 4 over here, so everything is over. X squared plus 2x, negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so you could write plus 0, but I'm not actually going to. Now, this is not a trinomial, so it's hard to use this form. You could say that the term in front here is a 1, so your a is 1, your b here is 2, and your c is 0. And then you can use the quadratic formula. However, there is a sneaky move that you can do. Both of these have an x, so you can take an x out of both of them. So you can take an x out of here and out of here, throw it out in front. And if you take an x out of the first one, you're just left with another x. And if you take an x out of this one, you're just left with a 2. So then we have the same thing that we had over on this side. We could have this one, the left can equal 0, or the right can equal 0. Now this requires nothing, it's already done. The right side we can minus 2 and minus 2. So x is equal to negative 2. So I have 4 answers that I actually need to check. So the original equation was x squared plus 2x minus 4. And these are why these questions could take such a long time. So I'll try to split this up. So we had a 2 and then an x squared. Now we have 2 here. So a 2 squared, so x squared plus 2x minus 4. X squared, so 2 squared plus 2x, 2 times 2. I can't remember what I said, minus 4. Just double check. Yeah, minus 4. And so there's a 2 in front, x squared plus 2x minus 4, minus 8 equals 0. So minus 8 is equal to 0. And then from here, I've got a 2 on the outside. 2 squared is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 4. Minus 8 is equal to 0. Now I'm just going to do the inside here. The inside is 4 plus 4, which is 8. 8 minus 4 is 4. So the inside of this thing is 4. Now the absolute value of 4 is just 4. So I have 2 times 4 minus 8 equals 0, and you can see this works. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 8 equals 0. 0 equals 0. A ton of work. Now we have to do it only 3 more times. So there's a 2 on the outside. Absolute value of x squared, x in this case is negative 4, squared, plus 2 times x, x again is negative 4, minus 4 in absolute values, minus 8 is equal to 0. Now this inside, negative 4 squared is 16, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, minus 4, minus 8 is equal to 0. Now let's take a look at what the inside of this absolute value actually is. 16 minus 8 is 8, 8 minus 4 is 4. And you can see here I get the exact same thing that I got there. So I know this is going to work. Absolute value of 4 is just 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So that works. Next one is if x is 0. So you got 2. The absolute value of x squared in this case would be 0 squared, plus 2 times x, 2 times 0, minus 4 in the absolutes, minus 8 equals 0. So x squared plus 2x minus 4, yep. So 2 and 0 squared is 0, plus 2 times 0 is 0, minus 4, minus 8 equals 0. Now 0 plus 0 minus 4 is negative 4, minus 8 is equal to 0. Now the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4, and again I get the exact same thing. 2 times 4 is 8, 0 equals 0. Okay, so far they've all worked. Maybe this one won't. 2 times the absolute value of x squared. X is negative 2. Remember the negative, if x value is negative, you have to put it in brackets because you're squaring the 2 and you're squaring the negative. So x squared plus 2x, x is negative 2, minus 4, all in absolutes, minus 8 equals 0. Negative 2 squared is 4. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and another negative 4, minus 8 equals 0. So the inside here is going to be negative 4. Because 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 minus 4 is minus 4. And you can see we got the exact same thing that we got over here. The absolute value of negative 4 is just 4. And 2 times 4 is 8. So 0 equals 0. So we actually got 4 answers, and all of them work. And we've proven, and that's the biggest thing, is that we've proven that they all work. So I'll zoom in here on the check for you to, if you need to copy it here. And then I'll zoom in on the work, just in case you need to copy it. So I think we'll stop there, and then we'll do another video for the next question.